Today is a day that, for us as Americans, we remember how a decade ago that our country was attacked and thousands of lives were lost. And, Joe, I think about that, and the image for me that probably represents September 11th. I see firefighters.
Sure, absolutely.
I see them, rushing into the building to save lives as everybody else was running out. And I know those guys are, near to your heart for.
Absolutely. I've shared a little bit along the way. I have the privilege of serving Marion County as the chaplain with Fire Rescue, and it's been a journey that's been a part of my life for years and years. I've talked to you over the years as I've had a chance to teach about my prior career in public education, but there's been another kind of theme to my life that's been going on ever since then. The very first school I was a principal at was a very small school, 100 students in the high school. And when somebody got sick or injured at school, they brought them to this office, and my secretary and I just looked at each other. We didn't know what to do. So in that little community, I became an EMT in that little ambulance service there. From there, I moved to another community, got involved in the volunteer fire department. And so for me now, for 25 years, I've had the privilege of being involved with Fire Rescue World. When I went into ministry then as a pastor, my connection with them was always as a chaplain. And I had the opportunity to serve that very incredible group of people that way.
And I just need to say that's a really cool looking outfit.
Cool outfit, isn't it?
I feel a little underdressed, but I mean, that's been a part of your role even as you came here, here being a pastor at the Springs, and you got involved. Tell us about that journey.
Just getting involved with the county. One of the gentlemen that was part of our church back when we first came here, even before I started working here, was involved, one of our chiefs with Fire Rescue. And we started a conversation pretty early in our relationship about what it would look like for Marion County to have a chaplain. They didn't have a chaplain at the time. And through the years, got a chance to get things developed. And then it was in 2009 that I got officially appointed. And really, the chaplaincy is an opportunity to serve an incredible group of people. They're here this morning. The firemen are here. You just don't see them because they don't have their uniforms on. There's a great number of people that are part of our church, as well as law enforcement and military people. They're here among us, and I know every time that we talk about recognizing, they're very quick to say, "Oh, don't do that. This is just what we do." And I tell them always, and guys, those of you who I've already seen this morning, the rest of us, we're very glad that you do what you do,
right.
And it's a privilege then to serve them.
And this has been a part of your life for 25 years, but it's more than a hobby, isn't it?
When I got involved with Fire Rescue in 2009, my weekly schedule was here 6 days a week, services Saturday and Sunday. Took my day off on Monday, spent the beginning of it with my family, and then spent a couple hours in the evening with one of the fire stations. Marion County is the size of Rhode Island. We have 30 career fire stations, over 600 personnel. And getting to one station once a week wasn't really going to cut it in terms of really being effective and making relationships. So there became a conversation that I had with the fire department and with you to say, what would it look like for me to gain some time to be able to serve them in a better way?
Yeah, and this is a calling that's on your life. And you and I, we've been talking about this for I don't know how many months or a year or whatever.
For about a year.
And I've watched this build in you, and right now there's some people sitting here that are getting nervous because they think this is the Joe's leaving speech. And
it's not.
And it's not.
Correct.
Joe and I have talked about this, and for us, we look at it as this is an opportunity to partner with Joe to do ministry in the city, and a calling that's on his life to a unique group of people that.
Absolutely. We talk about missionaries. Missionaries you think about missionaries that go to foreign countries, and we call them that they go to people groups, people, different culture, unlike themselves, and they minister. Well, believe me, Fire Rescue folks are a different people group.
Don't point.
Would you agree with me? It's a different group. They've got some incredible uniquenesses. They've got some incredible challenges on their lives as well. They deal with a life that you and I never see because they're willing to be there instead of us. And because of that, there's some unique stressors on their world. And to have the opportunity to minister to them and to encourage them, to support them, to love on them, to be there for them, and ultimately then to get the opportunity through relationship to talk to them about Christ. That's where all this is heading.
That's it. So we've started this transition to, Joe is shifting to an associate pastor role, or has already done that.
Right.
Most people aren't even aware of that.
Correct. Which was the plan. You know,
Yeah.
for most of you, my relationship with you will stay the same. You'll see me here every weekend. If you have a need to get connected with a pastor, I'll be the one to connect with for weddings, for funerals, for counseling opportunities. The biggest change is that I'm not doing groups, and we've
Yeah.
handed that off to Esther.
Yeah.
And so that's allowed me really to then have time during the week to spend with Fire Rescue.
Right. So and you'll still be teaching here with us on the weekends. And for 90% of the people that sit here, you'll never even notice the difference. It's us in the office who notice the difference when you kind of go, well, let's ask Joe. Oh, he's not here today. You're in the office about a day and a half a week, here on the weekends, and you know, we at the Springs are saying, you know what, we're partnering. He's going part-time here, and then the other time there, which means, you know, there are sometimes at night, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning, your phone rings and you're out there on a scene.
Yep. The chaplaincy has been seen as a ministry of presence. It's just being there. And it's the hope, certainly in the midst of a crisis scene or a bad car accident, a house fire, that somehow just when the chaplain shows up, that somehow God's just a little bit closer. Mm-hmm. And I know as we get there, I try to make kind of eye contact with the men and women that are on the scene from Fire Rescue, just to kind of let them know, I'm here, and somehow in the midst of all the craziness, a little bit of peace can come on the scene.
It's been cool too for us to, you know, meet people in the concourse and be out, you know, in a membership connect class, and I meet someone and they say, well, I'm a firefighter. I said, really? Well, how'd you hear about the Springs? Well, Chaplain Joe. So to them, you're Chaplain Joe.
That's right.
And I think that's a cool representation for Christ out there for
Absolutely.
you. And man, what an honor.
Yeah. And I'm very grateful to you, and we've talked about this very personally, to you and to the congregation to give me this freedom. And know that really what we are doing in partnership is ministering to another room of 600 families that get a chance to have some of our love and attention.
Yeah. And those were the guys, too, that, you know, when we think about 10 years ago today, the first responders. And I think for a lot of us, we try and get our hands and hearts around September 11th and the tragedy. But today, we as a church and we as a nation are focused on remembering the lives that were lost and what happened that day. Let's do that. Watch your screens.